Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Wrobel, as you heard, and today I'll be presenting on American exceptionalism. So first, I'll be starting off with a definition. So from the Encyclopedia Britannica, a very basic definition is the idea that the United States of America is a unique and even morally superior country for historical, ideological, or religious reasons. So basically, it just gives this sort of inherent quality to America that makes it superior to others. There are many different origins that are argued for this term. For example, the French political scientist and historian Alexis de Tocqueville is widely credited to have referred to the United States as exceptional for the first time, though criticisms of this theory say that his use of the term was probably widely incidental, as he just used the term exceptional and America together without necessarily referring to the concept as a whole, but it's still sometimes accredited to it being its origin. However, it's officially been coined by the communist activists in the 1920s and 30s in the United States, where they stated that the US was a unique exception to the Marxist-Leninist doctrine that countries couldn't transition to communism without a period of class warfare because of the nation's blurred class boundaries. So there are several different sources of American exceptionalism that sort of bring on this idea. First being Enlightenment liberalism, where liberty is the fundamental nature of humans. So in the case of the United States, obviously, liberty and freedom is a very core ideal in American society, which therefore becomes the foundation of American exceptionalism. Second, we have religious virtues, often seen as divinely ordained destiny, which basically implies that the state and the inherent quality of American exceptionalism is given to America by God. It's seen as sort of God's journey for American society. And finally, the sheer size and geopolitical force of the nation adds to its inherent superiority, as the United States has a large size and therefore a large amount of resources compared to other countries. So now I have two videos lined up for you. These are citizen opinions on American exceptionalism. I found them obviously through the C-SPAN archives, through the Washington Journal, where they had viewers call in and share their opinions on if they believed in American exceptionalism or not. So this first video is from 2012, and the second one is from 2013, where you can see how there's not one united front on whether citizens believe that American exceptionalism exists or not.
Writes, never before in the history of the world has a country dominated the world militarily, economically, or culturally like the United States does. Globally, instead of taking land and resources, America is a force for good. Our freedom is unparalleled and fosters our unprecedented prosperity. As a result, America is the envy of the world. We may not be perfect, but we truly are exceptional.
So now on that second.
First of all, let me say this, is that the exceptionalism here on this continent came by the fact that it was stolen a whole continent that was rich in all of the natural resources that a continent could have.
Okay, so that was a short part of the viewer's larger statement. But as you can see, this will bring us to criticisms. A very popular publication titled The Myth of American Exceptionalism by Stephen Walt from the Foreign Policy Journal is used to state a lot of these main criticisms and shows us that there isn't a wide consensus on whether or not America is truly exceptional or not. So in this article by Walt, he states that American exceptionalism makes it harder for Americans to understand why others are often alarmed by U.S. policies and frequently irritated by what they see as U.S. hypocrisy. So basically, American exceptionalism oftentimes blinds Americans to similarities with other nations, and it makes them more isolated in international relations as a whole. Another criticism is that any instances of exceptionalism could also be drawn down and equally explained as luck or American virtues. So did we really have this success, or were we just in the right place at the right time? Finally, what I believe to be the most important criticism of American exceptionalism is, does America take too much credit for global successes? So drawing back to one of the sources of American exceptionalism, with the sheer size and geopolitical force, it's very easy for the nation to sort of take charge in international relations and therefore sometimes gain credit where credit is not often due. So a large amount of these successes could potentially be accredited to just being in the right place at the right time, or taking credit where credit is not due. Finally, how will it develop? Most recently, it's been heavily championed by former President Donald Trump. And in the Washington Post, a columnist, Michael Gerson, refers to events under Trump's presidency as, quote, a post-apocalyptic vision of chaos and national humiliation, where there was not a future anticipated by adherents to American exceptionalism. It did not fit with the narrative of progress that characterizes the United States as the leading player in the divinely guided history of liberty, leading the world to redemption by modeling and spreading any number of national values. I found this to be critical to this discussion because it reflects the straying away from expectations of exceptionalism in a new era of extremist nationalism. It offers this contradiction of a nostalgia towards the past with a future-oriented ideology, where this idea that America can be exceptional is by returning to its past achievements and focusing on those rather than focusing on progress and what may become of the nation in the future. That being said, that's all I have prepared for today. These are my sources, and I welcome any questions if you have any. Thank you.